The Bob and Sheri website, the Oddcast, contest info, bobandsheri.com.
I think most people know what The Onion is. It's a fake newspaper that has been around for, what do you think, Sheri, 20 years now? Probably
no,
that
longer.
long.
Longer.
Maybe longer.
Yeah.
And it's online and it's hysterical. I mean, you look at the head. I don't go over there anymore because the real news sometimes you go, that can't be. But the Onion is very, very clever. And I don't know why, but I remember one of their headlines that popped into my head just the other day, and I'll tell you why. The headline was, "Local man says you just can't beat a cheeseburger." And there's a picture of a guy. And we were talking about this many years ago. And I thought, it's a funny line, especially set up. Local man says you just can't beat a cheeseburger. But it's true. Sometimes unless you don't eat meat, you can't beat a cheeseburger. I took my grandson to this carnival in our town a little while ago. And they have jump houses. And of course, they have food trucks. And there's this one food truck. 3 people working there, and their specialty is cheeseburgers. That is their specialty. And I've been eating cheeseburgers all my life. I don't eat much red meat anymore. But if I do, it's probably a cheeseburger at a place that I really trust. And I'm very particular about it. So, I'm there. Mary's looking after Christian. And I said, I'll go get us some food. And I saw the special cheeseburger. This is our special cheeseburger. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go with that. I said, let me have 2 of the specials. I got to tell you, it was the greatest cheeseburger of my entire life.
That's bold.
And
I'm sorry, that's bold.
I know it.
That's a bold
I know
statement.
it. Can I describe you what they do?
Yeah, go ahead.
They grind up some sirloin. So it's sirloin steak that's ground up, and then they have special sauce, a white sauce. Usually I do not like a special sauce, but I said, just go with it this time. And then on top of that, there is shaved ribeye, almost like a Philly cheesesteak. So it's the ground sirloin with a Philly cheesesteak sort of meat on top of that, the special sauce, some onions, and a piece of cheese. And
onions raw. Wait a minute. Onions raw
cooked,
or grilled? Cooked onions.
Yeah, grilled. Yeah.
Okay.
And a soft hamburger. Sometimes you get a hamburger roll and it's cold and it just ruins the whole experience. They're steaming it right there on the truck. Soft. I bit into that thing and my head exploded when I finished it. And Mary, who's not a big cheeseburger eater, she said, "This is unbelievable. I'm so glad you got this one." I went over to the main guy in the truck, and they're sweating and they're working so hard. I said, "Excuse me, it was the greatest cheeseburger of my life." His face lit up because this particular cheeseburger he lives for, and he knows how good it is, and he takes every one of those compliments to heart. I've never had anything quite like it. And I guess it's the combination of the high quality meat and 2 different meats that just combined. Can you beat that, Lamar? You like cheeseburgers.
Now I've got to go to this. You've done put this in my head.
You got to come to this truck.
I won't rest till I get to that truck.
You read it once.
I don't believe that.
And then you read it again.
I can't believe this.
It's Bob and Sheri's.
I don't believe this.
I cannot believe this.
Okay, get ready, because these are the 4 things that we're all doing that's making us unhappier than 99.9% of the rest of the people, okay? Because a lot of us think that the stuff that'll make us happy is like money or success or being really great looking or popular or whatever. And, very few times do those things succeed in making an unhappy person happy. But here are the 4 habits that are making you so much more miserable than other people. Number 1, judging your emotions. Because emotions aren't good or bad. They're just how you feel. Yeah. Like anxiety isn't bad. Anger isn't bad unless you use it to be violent to somebody else. Grief isn't bad. You have no control over these things, right? So that's why you don't have moral judgments on them. It's not against the rules to be angry. It's against the rules to use your anger to act aggressively. So judging
Okay.
yourself for something you can't control sets you up for suffering. When you judge yourself for being sad, now you feel guilty for being sad. When you judge yourself for being anxious, now you feel guilty and for being anxious and angry at yourself. Why can't you be like other people? Right?
Okay.
And it says here that in order to break that cycle, you have to be as compassionate to yourself as you would be to someone that you care about. Like if Max were spiraling right now with anxiety, you wouldn't be like, snap out of it, you big fool. You'd be like, well, let's talk about that. But inside your head, that voice inside your head is going, snap out of it. You're such a baby. You're so dramatic. That's the first bad habit. The second bad habit, and this is really important, unrealistic expectations, not just for yourself, but for everybody else. Like, yeah, you did something around the house. You cleaned the garage and you're expecting to be praised for it. And your your life partner comes home and maybe they don't even notice it because they got their own stuff going on. Or maybe they go, wow, the garage looks great. But what you wanted was a big production. Now your expectations have not been met. So now you're angry and resentful, right?
And it's not
You're
your fault because you were on your hands and knees cleaning that floor in the garage. And that took you like 2 hours when you could have been doing anything else. You could have been going to the golf course, but no, you went there and you got on your hands and knees. And then you backed your car out so that a person could not miss that was a clean floor that she put in and paid for in your garage. But she walks right by it and says, nice. And that's it.
Exactly. This is why we have to manage our expectations. Here's the third bad habit: constant, chronic worrying about the future. You're worrying about things that might happen, but haven't happened, but could happen potentially. All you do is worry about the future. Your imagination makes all these worst case scenarios. You feel helpless and you worry. But guess what happens? While you're worried about the future, that worry is robbing you blind of the present. You look up one day and
I
you
probably
realize,
suffer with that more than anything
Yeah.
else in the world. That is probably the worst thing that I play in my head. It's terrible.
that you've given
trying
up
not to.
today worrying
Yeah.
about tomorrow. And a lot of the things
Yeah.
that you worried about never happened. Like they just never happened because you were making them up in your head as you went. And the fourth thing that is making you more miserable than 99% of the people is endless seeking of reassurance. It's so self-defeating.
Wow.
Yeah. You've had something awkward happen, so you text somebody or you talk to somebody about it, and you want to be reassured, right? You have that sick feeling, so you go to your closest friend or your life partner, and you want them to reassure you. There's nothing wrong with being with wanting reassurance, according to this. The problem is when your immediate response to something difficult is to go to somebody else to be reassured, it totally sabotages you because you lose the ability to manage your feelings on your own, and you end up creating this like really toxic dependency, which leads to resentment and conflict in your most important relationships because people see you coming and they're like, oh, what today? What now? What
I don't
is
have
it
that.
today?
I don't have that.
Do you
particular
ever have a
problem.
good day? Do you
I don't have that
ever
problem.
get through it?
Here's why. I work in radio, and I have most of my life. If you think that I have just breezed through life with great reassurance from the people controlling, my destiny, that has never been the case, or very seldom been the case.
You get the opposite. You get
the opposite very often. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. You got to be, you just have to be tough. Hang in there. If you believe in yourself, that's your best armor.